Welcome to Knox City Murder. This is episode 3, Truth Be Told, or Not. Previously, on Knox City Murder.
A new CEO was announced early this morning, Oliver Barron, the former head of technologies. Our reporters are currently looking to talk to the man himself about what his future plans are.
You're fired.
What?
Don't bother coming into work.
Oliver Barron, you're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided.
I heard the news. From what they said, it could have been a murder.
And you believed them immediately.
Is there a reason I shouldn't? They said I have an inside source.
Did they mention who this inside source was?
No. How would I have any way of knowing? They just said it on the news.
You have to stop this. I want to help you, I really do, but you're driving yourself into the floor at this point.
Don't you understand? They're after me. They're all after me. If they notice one mistake and blame me, I will be killed.
You're losing yourself. Honestly, if I had known this position was going to do this to you, I'd have stopped you before you applied. And what mistake? All you've done has been beneficial to society. I'm surprised you haven't made it a mistake big enough for people to notice.
Are you questioning my abilities and what I can do? You think it's a good time right now to say I'm incompetent with a luck streak?
That in no way is what I meant. Everybody makes mistakes. You're incredibly talented. You were chosen for this job because of that.
You're just saying that. I know what you're all thinking. Leda. When will someone finally notice you're unfit for your job? Someone is bound to come and take your spot. No, don't come helping me. I'll be okay.
Just look at you. You're disheveled and erratic. Every word out of your mouth at this point is a conspiracy theory about the end of your life. I want to help you. I really do. But at this point, I don't think I can. For the sake of your health, please, just reach out for once.
Don't you see? I've tried to, but that hasn't worked.
Because you haven't let them help you. You just ramble on and on. Your conversations with your therapist are the same with you and me. I rarely get to talk this much to you without you over...
That is not true. Our conversations are 50-50. You talk just as much as me.
Oh my god, Leda, you're crazy. I really wish...
Stop calling me that. I am not those foul words and labels you people claim that I am. My beliefs are these conspiracy theories that are debunked on a daily basis. I have the evidence. I have everything to prove it. But no one will believe me. Raymond, you're my best friend, yet you continuously drive me down, telling me I'm full of lies, of misconstrued statements fed to me by everyone. We are best friends, Raymond. Best friends. Have been since we were young. But you treat me like this monster that everyone can only view at a distance. We were supposed to stick together in this. Support each other.
Oh, you want to talk about supporting each other? Leda, I have stuck with you for so long. I watched you climb to the top that you were once at. I celebrated every step with you. I watched as you fell from your place. Mentally, you've declined. I tried my damn hardest to help you pick up the pieces. I cared about you, Leda, and I don't want to see you fall apart anymore. But you have left me nothing to hold on to anymore.
So I'm just useless to you.
That is in no way what I am trying to say. Leda, listen to me for just for once. You are my best friend. I can't stand seeing you like this, though. You need serious help.
You don't know anything of what I need.
Leda, I'm your best friend. I care deeply for you. I promise if therapy doesn't work this time, we can look into a different way to help you. I'll stand here with you as you try and get your PPD under control.
I'm fine. I don't need... maybe... Raymond? Why does everyone think there's something wrong with me?
Because there is, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. I'll help you get what you need. Please, Leda.
That man is a right piece of work.
Who? Baron?
Yeah, he originally didn't let us interview him, and when he did, he refused to elaborate enough for us to actually get anywhere. What a waste of time. We could have been interviewing someone who could actually give us information.
At least we got something from him. More names.
At least there's that.
The other guys should be getting somebody down here. But while we wait, maybe we should interview Rachel Simmons. She's already here.
Sounds good. I'm sure she could tell us more about Baron. Do you know where she is right now?
Interrogation room 3, I believe.
Great, let's go then. Good morning, Rachel Simmons. I'm Officer Abernathy, and this is Officer West. Do you mind if we ask you a few questions?
No, I don't mind.
Where were you around the time of Leda Stevenson's death?
I'm not completely sure when that was, but I was in bed sleeping from about 9 last night till 7 this morning.
Is there anyone who can confirm this?
I'm not sure. I live by myself outside work. I don't really talk to a whole lot of people.
Are you sure that there's nobody that can prove your claim?
Unless you can somehow talk to my dog, then no.
Alright, moving on. Was there anything strange about Leda's behavior before she died?
Nothing that wasn't unusual for her. She was a paranoid woman.
We are well aware of that by now. How long did you work for Storm Intel? And more importantly, Leda Stevenson?
I worked for Leda the entire time she was the CEO.
How long did you work there before that?
Only a couple weeks for the CEO before Leda, but he was retiring before I even got the job.
Who was that?
I think his name was Norman Driscoll, but I don't really remember him too well. Besides, I think he passed away a couple months ago.
We'll have to look into that. What can you tell us about the days leading up to Leda's death?
She was just as paranoid as ever, but something seemed even worse. It wasn't that she was more paranoid than she usually was. It was that what she was paranoid about was more consistent.
Do you know what she was paranoid about?
She kept going off about how she was going to be murdered and how she was going to be pushed out of her office window. Maybe she was onto something.
What do you mean by that?
Well, that's how she died, right? So what if she was right, you know? Maybe she wasn't paranoid at all.
Calm down. We just want to know more about her.
She talked about so many horrible things that she thought was going to happen. What if she was right?
I'm sure it's just a coincidence that she happened to die that way, but let's move on. How would you describe your relationship with Mr. Baron?
Mr. Baron? We've never really got along, so not that good, I suppose.
How long have you known him?
I knew him a little from when I worked with Leda, but he would just fired me on his first day as CEO, so not enough that it would matter.
What can you tell us about him?
He's a righteous jerk. He only cares about himself, and he has little to no regard or respect for other people.
Alright. What can you tell us about Baron's relationship with Leda?
He was jealous of her. He had been working for Storm until longer than Leda had been, and he believed that he should have been made the new CEO instead of her.
Do you think Oliver Baron killed Leda Stevenson's or possesses the knowledge of something related to Leda Stevenson's death?
Murder? He may be a jerk, but he's no idiot. He would never risk his reputation for even being associated with murder. I'm sure he's fuming about even being a suspect.
What makes you say that?
He's a pompous prick, and he cares too much about himself. Let's leave it at that.
Okay, moving on. How long has Oliver been working for Storm Intel?
For a couple years, I believe. I'm not entirely sure about just how long exactly.
Can you tell us anything about Charles Stevenson?
Leda's husband. I believe they had a little bit of a rocky relationship, but I wouldn't know a whole lot about that. You may want to ask maybe her therapist, Dr. Campbell, maybe even Raymond Webb. I know that he's known Leda for a long time. Maybe her bodyguards know something about the relationship.
She has bodyguards. Would you mind telling us their names?
She did. Their names were Laurel Stallard, Victor Foxx, and Raymond Webb, who I mentioned earlier.
We should bring in both of those people.
We need to find more information about Leda's last days. I think that's all the questions we have for you today. As of right now, you are not a suspect. But don't leave the city. We might have more questions for you.
Alright. Can I leave now? It's been a long day. It's only 11:35.
Of course. We'll talk to you later, Miss Simmons.
So, who should we try to interview next?
The best bet would be Raymond Webb. He lives close by, and I'm pretty sure he would be willing to be questioned.
We should probably call him then. Is his number on record?
I believe so. I'll go check. Is this Raymond Webb?
Yes, how can I help you?
I'm Officer West with the NCPD. I need to speak with you regarding the death of Leda Stevenson. Can you come down to the station anytime soon?
What is this about?
Leda Stevenson.
I thought so. I can be there in the next 30 minutes.
Great. We'll see you soon.
Any luck?
Yeah, he said he'd be here soon.
Are you Raymond Webb?
Yeah, I'm here to talk about Leda Stevenson.
Yes. Please follow us.
Where were you the night Leda Stevenson died?
At home with some of my friends.
Would you mind writing down the names of the people you were with?
Sure.
Thank you. What was your relationship with Leda Stevenson?
She was my best friend, and until her death, I think I was her only friend.
Why do you say that?
She believed that everyone around her was plotting against her in one way or another. I think she thought of me as well in the end, but she trusted me for a long time.
Why do you think you were her only friend?
She mentioned it at least twice.
Could you be more specific?
During some of her rants, she would say that me and Charles were the only people in her life that she trusted. She probably shouldn't have trusted Charles, though.
What do you mean?
Charles is a sad excuse of a human being. I'm pretty sure that he abused her, at least mentally. Wouldn't be surprised if that's why she got more erratic these last couple of months.
Okay. Rachel Simmons told us you worked for Leda as a bodyguard, is that true?
It is.
Did you at any point need to protect Miss Stevenson from anybody?
Only twice. The first time was some random dude at the Storm Intel holiday party. He tried to assault her. I still don't think that anybody knew him or how he got into the party. If they did, they didn't say anything. The other time was the same dude a couple days later. He was pissed off about what happened at the party and tried to assault her again. He was arrested afterwards. It turned out he was on parole and wasn't supposed to be drinking. Pretty sure he's still in prison now.
How long ago was this party?
Last year.
Do you remember the name of the man?
I don't.
Okay, I guess we'll move on from that now. How long did you work for Leda?
For a few years, but I've known her much longer than that, though.
How long have you known her for then?
Since Leda and I were children. Our parents have been friends for decades, and we met through them.
So you knew Leda pretty well?
Yeah, I guess I did.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say more than that.
No.
Okay, next question. When was the last time you saw her?
2 weeks and 4 days ago.
What was the reason?
We were discussing the reasons why she fired me. When I saw her, she was distressed, and she felt bad about what happened. I remained civil with her as she kind of spiraled again, but I've been friends with her for a while. I'm used to it, so I didn't overreact.
Why were you fired in the first place?
When she fired me, she was a bit hesitant to tell me why. She started whispering to herself. I think she got it in her head that somehow I was going to backstab her. She thought that about everyone else she cut out, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's why. To sum it up, I was given no real reason.
If you two were friends since childhood, why do you think she thought you would backstab her? I mean, I don't know much about the mind of people that have a sort of disorder she had, but I would think that she would at least think better of you.
That's what I thought too. Honestly, I was blindsided by the fact she fired me. Her PPD was only getting worse. I did my best to support her, but it seemed like in her eyes, every person in her life was out to get her. It was only a matter of time before she believed I was.
Did you ever know about her going to a therapist or something along those lines?
Oh, most definitely. I was the one who suggested it to her. It proved to work as that's how she got the proper diagnosis for PPD.
Do you remember the name of this therapist that she went to?
Her name is Dr. Campbell. I'm pretty sure she worked downtown at the local wellness center. She's probably your best bet when it comes to finding out more about her PPD.
West, go look at our databases for a Dr. Campbell.
I'm on my way to do that now.
Well, Mr. Webb, I believe that's all our questions for now. We will be in touch.
Of course. You know where you can get a hold of me.
Violet, have you heard anything new yet?
Not yet. Honestly, I feel like a sitting duck right now.
I'm sure we'll get a lead soon.
Have all of you heard the radio broadcast? It's quite concerning.
No, we haven't. What happened?
Here, let me grab the transcript. We need to figure out who did this.
This is Justin. Oliver Barron has reportedly been detained in police custody in suspect of Leda Stevenson's murder. Nothing else has been reported, but if it comes out true that Oliver murdered Leda, where will this take Storm Intel?
Now, who reported this? Because we made sure that this got out to no one.
It's gotta be someone in this room. There's no other way that someone could have told the news source.
What about someone at Storm Intel? They knew about Oliver being arrested.
I doubt it would be one of them. Why would they say anything? If it is true, Storm Intel is probably going to go under due to bad publicity.
I don't know what's going on, but I need you, West. We got Campbell in the interrogation room.
I'll be right there.
Afternoon, Dr. Campbell.
Afternoon.
I'm sure you know why we called you down here.
I know why. I will remind you, however, that because of client confidentiality that there's not much I can say.
We understand, but I think you could clarify at least a few things about Leda Stevenson.
What do you need to know?
First, how long were you Leda's therapist?
I believe around 6 to 7 months.
How much progress could you say she made?
Very little, actually. I believe that recent events just made her worse than when I started seeing her.
When was your last appointment with Leda?
Almost a month ago.
What was she like during her last appointment?
Erratic would be the best word to describe it, but I'm sure you have heard all about it from the other people that you've interviewed.
You are actually the first person we are interviewing.
I know that's a lie. I wouldn't be the first person you would call even if I didn't hear about this whole fiasco on the news. There's nothing more about her behaviors that I could tell you, and practically everything else falls under confidentiality.
I guess we should ask the big question. Do you think she could have killed herself?
No.
Why not?
Well, let me put it like this. If she were suicidal, would she truly be paranoid about getting killed? She feared death the same as everyone else, if not more. I believe that was the underlying cause of her PPD, that someone close to her would end up being her demise.
What a depressing life.
Would you be willing to state this to the public if necessary?
I'm not sure. The unrest made from her death will not go away soon. As paranoid as she was a respected member of the city. Storm Intel flourished under her guidance, and many people in this place worked for them. Not a surprise that her somewhat sudden death is causing so much drama in the public.
Drama. Could you elaborate?
I'm a therapist for all kinds of people, Officer Abernathy. Not many of them are calm about what's going on with this whole situation. I'm afraid I cannot stay longer. I have an appointment in half an hour and I need to get back to the office. Good afternoon.
I already have you your next person to interview. We tracked down Victor Foxx. He'll be here shortly.
Thank you. We need to get these interviews done ASAP.
Is this the right room? I wasn't given very clear directions.
You're Victor Foxx, right?
Yes, that's me. Is this where I'm supposed to be right now?
Yes, take a seat. We have a few questions for you.
I figured when I heard on the news that she had died, I'd be called down, so just not so quickly.
Let's just get started. What was your relationship with Leda Stevenson like?
Well, she was my boss, and I was her bodyguard. I mainly worked for her during business hours. I didn't see her much outside of work. At least for the first few months of me working for her. She eventually warmed up and would ask me to see her outside of her work hours.
She warmed up? That doesn't sound like the Leda we've been hearing about.
Doesn't seem like that's out of her character. I mean, more of a, she warmed up to me about as well as you'd expect a paranoid person to be able to be warmed up.
What do you mean by that?
She began to talk to me more and trusted me with some higher-up type information about what's going on in the business, but she never once told me any details about her personal life. Seemed like that's where she drew the line.
What details did she tell you about Storm Intel?
Don't know how much I can say legally, but to sum it up, I knew about a decent amount of projects lined up for Storm Intel to take on, and a little bit more about interactions with other businesses. Not many went well, more often than not. Leda's vision didn't 100% line up with whoever she was trying to make business deals with.
What was her vision?
She dreamed of a world where we didn't rely on rain energy.
What exactly is rain energy? I've heard of it, but nobody ever gave me the specifics.
You never were taught this in school?
No, it was never taught in my school.
Rain energy was supposed to be a clean energy source that would solve both energy problems our country was having and the desertification spreading from the Mojave Desert.
Mojave Desert? I thought it was just the Mojave.
It was called the Mojave once rain energy was made. It wasn't a desert anymore, but it's still empty and there's constant flooding now. After the desert spread into even Oregon, the government knew that they needed to do something.
Okay, so what exactly is rain energy? You haven't clarified.
You know that giant metal box on the mountain? It's called a rain processor. It draws huge amounts of water from the ground and turns it into energy. It also puts the water into the air as vapor. There's a couple problems though. For one, the machine never stops working. The rain that comes from the machine goes right back into the ground just to immediately be rain again, because the ground surprisingly doesn't stay wet along to grow much.
You know quite a bit about this, Mr. Fox. How do you know this all?
What can I say? I like being educated on things that affect me.
So, who made...
I think we should get back on topic. Mr. Fox, where were you the night Leda Stevenson died?
I was out drinking with some buddies of mine. They can back me up if necessary.
Can you think of anybody that would kill Leda?
Not really. As paranoid as she was, not many people were openly hostile towards Leda. I personally think that she did kill herself.
What makes you think that?
I don't think I could keep going if I thought every person I loved and cared about was going to stab me in the back. I don't think most people could.
Would Leda fit into the most people category?
I don't know what you're implying, but she definitely had some reasons that she would kill herself. Well, other than the paranoia, I know that the relationship with her husband was bad. She would rant to herself all the time about him and the kind of things he would do.
Go on.
Look, I was never there, so don't just take my word for it and arrest the guy. But as far as I know, this guy was abusive as hell to Leda. I don't think he was physically, but she was in a horrible mental state constantly. I knew from my work that she was going to a health office every once in a while, and whatever it was didn't help. Leda was a good woman. For someone to do something like that is... I'm gonna leave it there. I don't have anything meaningful to say that would help your investigation.
I think there's something else that you know that could help us.
Which is?
Out of her 3 bodyguards, you're the only one left. And one of them that was fired was a close friend of Leda's. Do you know anything about why they were fired?
Oh, right. Well, Raymond was fired due to Leda having this I don't know feeling. She never really explained it the best to me. She believed that Raymond knew something that would ultimately kill her, and she wanted him out from working under her.
What about Laurel Stallard? We've heard she was somewhat recently fired.
Leda really never liked Laurel in the first place. Only hired her due to Charles being so adamant about hiring Laurel specifically.
Do you know why he was so adamant about it?
I never really got the chance to talk to Charles. Didn't seem like Leda would enjoy me doing that. But from the little snippets I've heard, she started to believe she might have been planted by Charles to spy on her. To Leda, Laurel's vibe was not in the right place.
I think we will look into that. If Leda was somehow right, that could really help us.
If she is right about this, I wonder what else she's right about.
Well then, I'll go have someone call Laurel down. Other than that, I don't think we have any more questions. Abernathy.
Not right now. We'll call you in if we have any more questions to ask you.
Yeah, if you need me, you have my number. I'm gonna head out now.
Thank you for listening to the 3rd episode of Knox City Murder. Stay tuned for the next episode where we continue our interviews.